guys, happy Saturday. I am so sorry there wasn't a video yesterday. I had every intention of having a video up yesterday, and we ended up having thunderstorms. They're like super random, and power kept flicking on and off, so every time I start videoing, my power flicker. Was just not a good day for videoing. I have my phone out today because I have some specific things I want to go over with all of you guys, because I know people who come to weight loss channels are generally one of three kinds of people. There's obviously the haters. We're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about people who want to lose weight and or are starting to lose weight on their own, or people who just want to be very supportive of other people. So those are the three kinds. There is like a fourth kind, which is generally family members, people who are losing weight, who kind of want to know how to help someone else who's losing weight, that kind of thing. Those kind of people also join the weight loss channels and follow them. And all of them are necessary for a weight loss channel. Haters sometimes bring up things that we miss. People who are losing weight can give something that's worked for them. If somebody says, hey, you know what? I've been trying to lose weight and this, and this has happened. This, and this has gone wrong. I'm struggling with this. Someone else has probably been there. And it's a really great way for people to find support, learn how to give support, and just be supportive. But when it comes to weight loss, I mentioned it the other day, and I thought, you know what? I really need to start talking about some of these things that nobody else that talks about weight loss talks about. Or if they do, they kind of touch on it, and they move past it, and it's just kind of a thing. Like, you know, because some of these things are things I've already struggled with. Some of these things that I know from my counselor, from my doctor, hey, be prepared, keep your eyes open for X, Y, Z. Why I go to counseling. This will be the first topic I talk about. When you're losing weight, most people who are overweight, there's an underlying problem. There's something that they've gone through. Now here's the thing. I didn't gain all of my weight because of an underlying problem. I probably maintained it and didn't lose weight partially because of an underlying problem. Obviously part of it is my PCOS. That's real. But there is also an underlying issue in my life, or issues in my life. And I feel like not enough people talk about the fact that when you're losing weight, the best thing you can invest in is a counselor. Even if you just go once a month to talk about things, because you may have issues you don't realize you have. You may have things in the back of your head that you don't realize affect how much you eat, when you eat. Maybe you're an emotional eater. Maybe you're somebody who has anxiety. I have anxiety and PTSD. Maybe you're somebody who in the past has been sexually abused or assaulted. That is something that can actually cause you to maintain a higher weight level. And I know that sounds like crazy, but when you've been assaulted, you obviously don't want it to happen again. Like, that is like something obviously nobody wants to ever have happen to begin with, but once it's happened to you, it's really, really hard to wrap your head around the fact that your weight actually was nothing to do with it. What you looked like had very little to none to do with it. Those types of things are all about control and nothing about the act of it. And anybody who tells you otherwise is full of baloney. I have been a crisis counselor post that situation. I have had it happen to me. I have spoken with so many people, and I've spoken to attorneys, because obviously I had a district attorney that was dealing with my case. I spoke with other district attorneys. I spoke with doctors and counselors, and all of them say it is about control. It is about control. It is about violence. It is never about that. Okay? So I think the hardest thing that someone that's overcome that has had to rationalize in their head is it doesn't matter if you get 500 pounds. There will be somebody who will want to control you in that way. And so a lot of people maintain weight because of that. A lot of us are people who settle. For example, I was in an abusive relationship. It took me 4 years to leave. And I'm talking abusive to the point where I have a dent in my head. This is not like, oh, he was mean to me. No, I have a dent in my head. took me 4 years to leave. And then I left him in 98. Yeah, I left him in 98. In 2000, I met a guy. We got married in 2001. And things were good for the first 2 years-ish. But then the next thing that happened was he started cheating on me. And I knew he was cheating on me. I had proof he was cheating at me. I would talk to my family, yet I wouldn't leave him. Here's a guy cheating on me with multiple women. The only thing I did was stop sleeping with him. That was it. So I accepted that because of my weight, nobody else was ever going to care about me. Nobody else, the only kind of guys I was going to get were people who were going to hurt me. And I accepted that. That was my vision of life. And then when I finally got the gumption to leave him, and I got a place and I got a roommate, I picked a roommate who I found out after the fact was selling medications to people, selling drugs to people, not out of our house. Because obviously I had my kids. Had I known, trust me, the man would not have been in my house. After we moved in, he had his own room. My kids had my kids had a room. I had a room. Like, we all had our own rooms. And then suddenly his daughter wanted to move in with us. So then I let his teenage daughter move in with us. And it was just, I ended up paying 3/4 of all the bills because he didn't have any money. But little did I know he had tons of money. So once again, I let myself get used by someone else because I couldn't take care of myself. How could I take care of myself? And 2 kids, I wasn't capable. Like, I had such low self-esteem, which honestly, people who know me from high school don't understand why that happened, but it really happened because of that one instance in college that changed everything. I suddenly felt worthless. I felt like it was my fault. I had people that I knew that were family that told me they didn't think it actually happened, that I was making it up. Did not make it up. 110% did not make it up. The police can tell you didn't make it up. The police that he admitted he did it to, he told them, yeah, I did it. But she said no, and I really wanted it. Well, you know what? That's not how it works. But anyhow, so needless to say, he admitted what he did, and that wasn't good enough for some people. Some people thought, oh, you asked for it, you wanted it. No. And that was when I realized that other people didn't think I was worth it. So then why should I think I was worth it? And here, I was counseling other people after that, telling them, it's not your fault, but I didn't believe it for myself. And this would be like, thank you so much, you've given me hope. And I gave all these other people hope. I helped all these other people, but I couldn't help myself. And wouldn't help myself. And then as a single mom, I was working 3 jobs, so I didn't have time to take care of myself. I had 2 kids to take care of. I was working 3 jobs. I was busting my butt. And I had some other things that happened that I won't go into because I know some family members watch my channel and I'm not going to start family battles. But there were other things that happened during that time where people made me question my value. Or they had wanted to control certain aspects of my life because they told me by their actions that they didn't think I could do anything. And so that just reinforced this whole idea of I'm not good enough, I can't do this on my own, blah, blah, blah. To the point where I felt like I couldn't survive without somebody else in my life. I couldn't survive, without somebody else to help me. I didn't see that I was someone that was absolutely capable of doing whatever I wanted. When I would work in jobs, and this is even recently since I moved to Alabama, when I would work in a job, being that I'm the quote-unquote fat girl in the office, I would get blamed for stuff that I didn't do. And I would say, well, I didn't do that. And people would just they'd believe the person that was lying because I obviously must be a liar because I'm fat. There was one day at work where somebody had left the bathroom a mess. And the manager calls me in the office. Now, keep in mind, I have a thing about public bathrooms. Like, I do not like them. So most days, I wouldn't even go to the bathroom at work unless I absolutely had no choice whatsoever. And then there was a bathroom that was way on the back side of the building. So I would go all the way to the back of the building, this other bathroom, right? No one used that bathroom but me, pretty much. And it was always clean. Well, there was a bathroom really close to my desk. Well, someone left it a mess one day. A little while later, the manager calls me and she's like, did you use the bathroom today? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, so and so said they saw you go in the bathroom, and then when they went in after you, it was a mess. And I'm like, which bathroom? And she said, this one right here by your desk. I'm like, I don't use that bathroom. I'm like, ask so and so and so and so. They'll tell you I use one all the way in the back because I don't like to think. If I think anyone can hear me go to the bathroom, I can't go. Like, I don't know what it is. I just can't do it. So for me, I was mortified. These people would make up these lies about me, and then I'm sitting thinking, well, now my manager thinks I'm this trashy person, and I'm not. Like, and I automatically go to this bad place in my head. And so really, this whole idea of not dealing with my issues created other issues for me. And so I never saw myself as valuable enough to lose weight. And when I started going to counseling and talking things out, my counselor's like, but you're so smart. I don't understand why you've got yourself in this cycle. And I realized, it started from when I was a kid. It started from, I didn't have my mom, I didn't have my dad, I didn't feel safe, I didn't feel stable. I never felt stable growing up. Like, yes, I had my grandparents, and yes, it was stable-ish, but I was always afraid, even though they were like, well, we have full custody of you now, no one can take you out of our house, but there was a time where my mom had waited at a bus stop to come and just grab me. So I was really never safe. I was never stable. So I never had that stability that other people had. I always wasn't sure about, I didn't have really close friends in school. I had, one in high school that I was super, super close with, and we barely even talk now. And it absolutely breaks my heart, because I love her to death. And, the two closest friends I ever had, we don't talk. One I completely have no contact with. The other one I'm friends with Facebook, but I literally took Facebook off my phone. Because I want to make my going onto Facebook more mindful. Because I have noticed that when I go out to my counselor, it was something we discussed at a recent counseling session, that when I go on Facebook, there's things that affect me emotionally. Whether it be something somebody posts that I find just, heartbreaking to myself. I have a friend right now, and I do check Facebook on my laptop, but I check in, I have specific friends, I know there's one that just had surgery. There's two of my friends that just had surgery. There's one of my friends whose dad just had a really horrible situation, and he's been in ICU. So there's all these different people I have in my life who are going through stuff. I have another friend whose parents' house burnt down, and they're in the hospital now, and so I've messaged her, and, I've decided instead of just, scrolling through Facebook, I'm just going to be mindful about it. I'm going to go in, I'm going to kind of read the feeds, I'm going to message people that I know have stuff going on, see how they're doing, or check their page for an update. I'm not tying myself to something that emotionally can affect me that way. And I know it sounds crazy and it might sound selfish, and if it does, I'm sorry, but I have to look out for myself first now. My priority is me. And me realizing how much I was letting myself be second place is part of what started my weight loss journey. Part of it. And a lot of these things I talk about are going to be things that kick-started me to go, you know what, I need to change things. So if you're trying to lose weight, the best thing you can invest in is a counselor to make sure, maybe you don't have any other issues. Maybe you're somebody who you just have a weight issue, whatever. But most reasons we have weight issues, we don't even realize what the issues are. Or we've never put our finger on it or called ourselves out for the things we think about ourselves that just aren't true. And it's really important when you're trying to lose weight that you identify these things and that you handle them with a counselor. Because when you get down to your small weight, they're not going away. Those things that bother you, or those things that make you, if you're somebody who emotionally eats, or you're somebody who binge eats, the things that make you do those things aren't going away just because you lose weight. Losing weight doesn't solve those issues. So just take the time to go to a counselor, even if you think it's crazy, you think there's nothing wrong with you. If you're trying to lose weight, even if you just go once a month for a few months, just to identify any issues you need to work on. Because that is what I have spent my first 3 months doing. Aside from working out, changing my lifestyle as far as eating and living, and etc., I have also changed how I look at myself by using, obviously I'm a Christian, so I've used prayer time. I've used books that talk about how to deal with things. There's one of those, un-F yourself books. I have one of those that deals with anxiety. My anxiety is never going to go away. But I can look at it differently, and I can handle it differently, and I can educate those around me differently. So there's all these other factors that go into it. There's so much more. So take the time to look at yourself, do a little bit of self-education, go to a counselor, work through issues. While you're losing weight, issues may come up. People may treat you different. There might be things you have to deal with while you're losing weight. Take the time to have someone available for you to talk to who doesn't have any kind of stake in your life. Somebody who doesn't have a need to affect your decisions. Somebody who doesn't have a need to push you in a direction. You know what I mean? Like, take the time to make sure you have a third party who is not involved in your life directly that you can go and talk to, because it might be the thing that helps you keep the weight off once you lose it. And I am taking that part of my life very seriously. And I think everyone else should too. So that's today's causatory tale, I guess, about weight loss. I'm going to have other things that people don't talk about with weight loss coming up in the next week or so. There's a lot of things people don't talk about, and I want to make sure I address them, because as I go through my journey, these are things I'm finding about myself that I'm dealing with, or things that I know might happen to me. So I have researched them, how to deal with them. I've talked to my doctor about them. I've talked to my counselor about them. Stuff that I feel like if it does happen to me, I'm ready. So stay tuned. More to come. See you guys on Monday. I'm always off on Sundays. Have a wonderful weekend. What you got left of it. Bye.